guys. It's been a while, or at least it's been a while for one of these IT videos. So I decided the best way to get into the habit of doing something is to start easy and keep repeating it and get harder from there. So today I'm going to walk you through a pretty easy Proxmox guide. And I like these Proxmox guides because I feel like it's a good way to demonstrate IT skills or to just, learn new IT skills or stare things I've learned just playing around with it for a while. Now, my own Proxmox lab is pretty advanced, right? And a big part of my Proxmox lab is actually my Windows 2019 server. So let's give me a minute here. There we go. All right, give me just a moment. If you'll notice, my RAM from a Proxmox lab isn't actually Linux Prime, isn't actually Linux PAM or Proxmox VE. It's actually VLAN, which is my own self-hosted domain controller, right? And you go in here, you can see I have a domain controller called DC, right? And this DC runs my VLAN, and I do have another DC hosted in my PVE Hertzner box, and I'm hoping I'll get time to make a video on that, but probably not. It's been kind of busy and life's been kind of busy, so let's continue. Right. So let's go ahead and let's get started here. Right. The very first thing you're going to need to do if you want to install Windows Server 2019 is download the Windows Server 2019 ISO. So, we're going to learn how to type. Right. So, quick Google search. Oh, that's wrong. I'll leave that in there. So definitely don't just click the first thing on Google. It takes you to a ad website. That's what I get for running incognito mode without any of my ad blocks. So go ahead and go here, click continue, fill out this form and download the ISO. Okay guys, I forgot to include this step, but this step is actually rather important. We're going to download the VirtIO drivers, right? So here's what we do. First thing we do is we click Windows VirtIO drivers. Well, we search for Windows VirtIO drivers on Google. The second result should be Proxmox. Click that. Scroll down to installation, and you'll see right here you can download the latest stable driver. Right click that link and click copy. Open your Proxmox tab. Paste that link right here. Call it virtio.iso and hit download. Right, and it's going to start downloading. For your sake, I've already downloaded the ISO. Actually, I have this share here, or this storage pool called ISO Store. And on this storage pool, I have, Windows 11 ISO. Damn, I lied. So give me just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find a Windows Server 2019 ISO. Oh, wait. Here it is. It's just not called Windows Server 2019. It's called WinSCRSV, whatever the fuck. So let's go ahead and let's get started. The very first thing you want to do is create a VM. Right. I'm going to call this VM 7000. Just a random number here. And I'm going to 7000, call it PVE2 DC. And I keep descriptive names. I know a lot of people like to call their servers like Roger or like I don't know, Anakin Skywalker or Kirby or whatever. Don't do that. It's retarded. Simple, practical names help you solve things when you're sleepy and tired, or when you're tired from work, or when you're dumb brain, right? Or when you're high, or when you're drunk, right? If you keep a name simple, regardless of how your state of mind is, you should be able to solve a problem relatively quickly. So let's give this DC a name, PVE2DC, because it's going to be on my host PVE2, which I made just for these YouTube videos, right? So let's choose the storage pool. Go ahead and select the Windows Server ISO. It's probably going to come something like this, right? Go ahead and click next. Go ahead and click VirtIO SCSI. For the graphics card, leave that as default. For machine, leave that as default. Use QEMU agent. for BIOS, go ahead and choose UEFI for EFI storage. More than likely, you'll have one storage pool option, that's NFS Store, unless you've already set up another storage pool. I will make a video on how to set up Proxmox storage pools, but in this instance, I'm going to set it on my NFS Store, which is a NFS file share that I have on one of my file servers, right? So go ahead and choose a format as RAW, QWCO2, or VMDK. Now these do have implications. The best performance is going to come from a RAW based format, right? That's basically a one-for-one disk, and it's pretty performant. But it does have some drawbacks. One of them is you're not able to make snapshots of the VM. So if you're using this for testing purposes, or if you want to be able to snapshot your VM and roll it back, you're not going to want to use RAW, right? Or at least not if you're using a NFS storage pool. Now, QEMU does allow snapshotting, right? But it's got terrible rewrite performance, right? Expect your VMs to be very slow if they're on a QEMU backing store, just because it basically has to provision the disk space before it actually commits any writes. VMDK is virtual disk image file. This one is kind of, I don't really use it, but this is more for like compatibility with ESXi virtual machine. So if you have an ESXi virtual machine, or if you want to export this out to that, you can use that. I think if I remember correctly, VMDKs don't grow. You know, it's like a storage block. Not a storage block, it's basically like a pre-provisioned file, right? So there's some benefits to that. Let's go ahead and go to disks. And we'll set this to, because this is a Windows VM, 128 gigs, and we'll set it to QEMU, right? Again, one advantage, I'm using QEMU for this because it's going to be, basically I'm going to probably destroy this, or I'm going to use this VM for other videos. So being able to snapshot it and go back and redo work is going to be very useful. So with that, as far as cache go, choose write through. This is the most, at least for me, because this is a SSD store that NFS stores back through, right? So 4 cores for the VM, and I'm going to let it use CPU type KVM64, and then I'm going to give it 4 gigs of RAM, and it's going to be on my virtual bridge without a VLAN tag. Alright, right. I'll just give it a couple seconds here to start up. Right, and okay, guys. So if your VirtISO ISO, if your VirtIO ISO is done downloading, if your Windows VM is done being created, right, what you'll do is you'll click your Windows Server VM right here, right? The VM ID is going to be different based on whatever you called it, and the name's going to be different based on whatever you named it, right? So this is my VM ID is 7000. My VM name is PPE2BC. What I didn't do is I click hardware, add CD/DVD drive, right? I choose IDE. I choose my ISO storage pool. I then choose VirtIO1 latest, right? And I create. So basically what this does is it creates another CD drive for your VirtIO ISO, and then you should also have a CD drive for your Windows Server ISO, right? After that, you then have to go to options, boot order. Okay. So the boot order shows that your SCSI drive is the first device, and then it's going to try to boot from the Windows Server ISO, so that's fine. There should be nothing on that device, so it should boot from the Windows ISO. So let's click start and let's see what happens here. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Let's see if I can swap to my other window here. Let's see. Okay. Alright. We'll put boot manager, and we will choose DVD ROM. And what I did there was basically spam the escape key after I clicked the console right here to pull up the Proxmox boot menu, and then I selected the Windows ISO as the boot disk. So we'll give it a few seconds for it to boot. Hey, you know, I gotta apologize about that, guys. I realized the gain on my mic was a little too high after I did a quick review. Um, but am I going to review it? No. Right. So let's continue. Hopefully your ears don't get blown out. Right. I'm gonna try to make my future videos a little bit more mic level. Um, but while I was focused on that, this Windows server actually booted up. Would you look at that? It's like the little bit of movie magic right there. We got the mic fixed. We got the Windows server booted up. We're making progress here, boys. Right. So let's continue. It's taking so long. Oh my god. I'm used to. I'm kind of spoiled with the hardware I have. Right. I'm used to SSD storage that takes seconds to boot. And anything that doesn't take seconds is frustrating. Let's continue. Okay. So when you start Windows Server, unlike Windows 10, you're going to see a couple different options. You'll see Windows Server 2019 Standard Evaluation, Windows Server 2019 Standard Evaluation Desktop Experience. Basically, if either one of these two, you want the desktop experience. And in a summary, the difference between a standard evaluation and a data center evaluation is basically whether or not you want to use virtualization features, right? Um, we're not going to be using that. This is a very small deployment. Basically, it'd be like a small business deployment. So we'll go ahead and we'll click next. Sure, we read Microsoft's Orwellian terms of service. All right, we'll click custom install. And then we'll click load driver. And we'll click browse. And then what you want to do is click CD DVD drive, AMD 64, Win Server 2K19. Okay. And then you'll see the driver installing. And this isn't all the drivers you need for this Windows Server 2019 VM. It's the driver you need just for you to get Windows installed, right? Um, so we'll wait for a few seconds here for it to, I don't know. It's probably going to take a couple minutes. Oh, wait, it's done. Next, right? All right. So now it's getting files ready for installation. Unfortunately, I can't speed this process up. It's QEMU backing. But while it's doing that, we can actually do a little bit of digging here. Well, yeah. So we'll let this finish up. Right, I'm gonna go and get me some popsicle sticks. Uh, yeah, yeah. Talk to you soon, boys. All right. We're back, boys. All right. So let's continue. You got your Windows Server VM started up. The very first thing I want to do is give it an admin password. Right. Still a couple more things we got to do. If you pay attention, you see there, see that little X symbol? We have no network connectivity on this VM right now. All right. But we're in luck because that CD we connected, that virtual CD, should still be there. Okay, guys. So we have our admin password applied to the server. It's booted in. Let's go ahead and let's click this right here. Let's click this PC, right? And you'll see a CD drive called D that's named VirtIO Win, and then it'll be named, whatever version of VirtIO actually ended up downloading. And when I scroll down to VirtIO Win Guest Tools, I'm going to click I agree, right? And it wouldn't be too bad of a time to click options on the VM and check and make sure Quimmy guest agent is enabled. So mine is enabled. I think we enabled it when we first set up the VM. Click I accept, next, next, install. Right. We definitely read those end user license agreements here. Click them right through every single one of them. All right. You see now we have network connectivity, and it's getting an IP address. It got a host name. Let's wait for it to finish rebooting. All right. Starting services. Okay. Cool. Let's wait for this to finish here. While that happens, let's see. Okay. So it's still installing. Looks like it's installing the Spice driver. Right. I'm gonna cut away, and we'll come back when this is completed. Okay, cool. So after we get the drivers installed, you'll see down here that the network connectivity tab has changed from the yellow exclamation point to connected. Right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna give the Proxmox host a quick reboot. Other plan. Okay.
Okay, guys. So I'm having to remix the audio on this particular section of the video, and that's because my mic was actually muted, right? And I didn't catch that until I had already saved the recordings. So just doing a quick voiceover. It's not going to match anything you actually see me say on screen. Basically, in this section, I'm just go ahead and log in with my admin password, right? And I'm waiting for server manager to start up. All right, and then go ahead and checking for updates. Okay, unfortunately, Windows updates take forever, so eventually I just ended up cutting away from this scene because it said it was going to take a couple hours to download, right? But go ahead and just type in updates. You'll see the update menu pop up. Click the check for updates button, and then go from there. Okay, guys. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open up command prompt that you can see, and we're going to run a sysprep. If you pause the video, you'll see I actually ran the sysprep command by cding into the window directory, and then I included a few flags. The first was generalize, right? That basically makes the Windows host reboot and generalize itself as just a generic Windows image, right? Gets rid of that VM ID I mentioned earlier. Another thing it does is it reshuts down the computer, and it also sets the OOBE flag, which basically tells the computer to um, act as if it just was a fresh install and asks you to install a new admin password or to configure a new admin password, right? So pretty simple here, right? After that, the next thing I do is I go ahead and kind of test the templates out. So the first thing I do is I convert this to template. Right click on the VM ID, click convert to template. Right, wait a couple seconds. After that, you can go ahead and actually start using this template to create other VMs. You can see I right click and I clone the template, right? And then I assigned a VM ID of 701, right? And you'll see up here there's two options, link clone and full clone. A link clone is basically a thin provision clone. It's like a copy on write. Basically, it creates a snapshot of your template, right? And it makes files or like makes changes on top of that snapshot, right? So it's a very convenient way to spin up multiple VMs that are basically the same but might have minor differences between them, right? So as you can see here, I'm making my template, clone the template, and I'm giving it a new name. Also went back in and renamed this VM from PVE tube DC to PVE DC template, right? And then I got rid of the WinISO Windows driver and the Windows install driver so that when I clone the VM, those don't pop up. Because as you can see here, when I cloned it, it did actually pop up here. So, alright, okay, alright, let's see here. Okay, guys. So, right, this is the very last part of the video. Still, again, with the missing audio, but I'm going to give you a quick summary of what's going on. Alright, so at this point, I'm booting up both templates after I was done copying them. Right, and once I get them booted up, I'm going to go ahead and give them some quick tests and configuration changes just to confirm that they are working, right? So you can see PV2 DC, basically the first template I made is started up and it's working. That's me being pretty excited right there about it starting up, right? Let's see here, it's taking a sec. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's let it wait here, and then say it's getting ready. All right, so finally it's booting back up, right? And we'll just let the VMs finish booting back up, and we'll go ahead and we'll log into them. Let's see here. Yep, yep. There we go. That's the first template booted up, and that is the second template booted up there, right? And at this point, this video is basically over, right? I'm going through and verifying different things on the host. I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video all the way through, right? I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe at the bottom. Leave any comments, any feedback you'd like me to hear about, and I'll do my best to respond to you guys in a timely manner. Hope you have a great day. Bye, gentlemen.